Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into one of the most important and game-changing developments in modern warfare that has not only caught Russia by surprise, but is now reshaping how military analysts are looking at the future of battlefield firepower. We are talking about GMARS, a system that many are now calling HIMARS on steroids, and how its emergence has shaken Russia to its core. For months, the battlefield in Ukraine has been a proving ground for advanced Western weaponry. HIMARS, the high-mobility artillery rocket system, proved itself to be one of the most decisive tools for Ukrainian forces, capable of precision strikes at long ranges. Its ability to hit ammunition depots, command centers, and logistic hubs far behind the front lines changed the rhythm of the war. Russia felt its devastating power as HIMARS degraded supply chains and command structures. But now a new system, GMARS, promises to take that success and amplify it to an even higher level. GMARS stands for the Global Multiple Launch Rocket System, a joint project that leverages German engineering and American rocketry. Built as a heavier, more powerful cousin to HIMARS, GMARS can carry double the load and reach farther distances with improved precision. This essentially means Ukraine, or any nation that acquires it, can unleash more destructive firepower in a single strike while maintaining the accuracy that made HIMARS famous. For Russia, this is not just a tactical problem, it is a strategic nightmare. The introduction of GMARS comes at a time when Russia has been desperately trying to adapt to HIMARS. They have redeployed air defense systems, dispersed ammunition dumps, and tried to move command posts deeper behind the line. Yet even with these adjustments, HIMARS has continued to hit valuable targets. Now with GMARS in the equation, those efforts may be rendered completely useless. Russia cannot simply outrun or outmaneuver this new threat because GMARS has the reach and payload to hit much deeper into contested territory. What makes GMARS so revolutionary is not just its size and power, but also its flexibility. While HIMARS operates with a single pod of rockets, GMARS can carry two, effectively doubling its firepower without sacrificing mobility. This means it can deliver a punishing blow, withdraw, reload, and return to combat faster than any traditional artillery platform. In modern warfare, speed and survivability are everything. GMARS checks both boxes. Another key factor is the compatibility of GMARS with multiple munition types. It is designed to launch the same guided rockets as HIMARS, but can also fire newer, extended-range missiles, giving it an operational edge. This adaptability ensures that the system will not become obsolete quickly. Instead, it will evolve with emerging technologies, keeping adversaries constantly on edge. For Russia, the psychological impact of GMARS is just as significant as the physical threat. Military morale is heavily influenced by the perception of technological superiority. For Russian soldiers and commanders already shaken by HIMARS strikes, the news of an even stronger system is demoralizing. It signals that no matter how many adaptations they make, Western support for Ukraine can escalate in ways that Russia cannot easily counter. This realization undermines confidence at every level of their chain of command. On the Ukrainian side, the arrival of GMARS represents hope and renewed momentum. Every time a powerful system is introduced, Ukrainian forces are able to level the playing field against a numerically superior Russian army. GMARS offers a way to punch above their weight, to strike harder, and to continue degrading Russian logistics at a faster pace. For Ukraine, this is not only about immediate battlefield results, but also about maintaining long-term resilience against a larger opponent. Western nations also view GMARS as a demonstration of technological and industrial cooperation. The partnership between the United States and Germany shows that NATO allies are not just supplying old stockpiles, but actively innovating and producing new weapons tailored for modern conflict. This sends a clear message to Russia that the West is not running out of tools or determination. Instead, it is ramping up production and integration of advanced systems. Russia's attempts to counter HIMARS often relied on brute force, deploying more air defenses, using decoys, and shifting supply routes. But GMARS complicates these defenses. Even if Russia disperses supply lines, GMARS can hit farther and carry more missiles per mission. Even if Russia moves command centers deeper into rear areas, GMARS has the range to still find them. And even if Russia strengthens air defenses, the sheer number of rockets launched in one salvo makes it harder to intercept them all. The system essentially compresses the window of Russian response time, overwhelming defensive structures. This also raises the stakes for Russia strategically. With GMARS in play, Moscow faces a dilemma. It can escalate further, pouring more resources into defending occupied territories, or it can watch as Ukraine systematically dismantles its operational backbone. Neither choice drains Russia militarily and economically. Escalation increases the risk of direct confrontation with NATO, while retreat signals weakness. This is why GMARS is more than just a new weapon. It is a strategic lever that reshapes Russia's decision-making process. It's important to understand how warfare is evolving in real time. Precision, range, and mobility now define effectiveness more than sheer numbers. Traditional artillery requires thousands of shells to achieve what HIMARS or GMARS can do with just a handful of guided rockets. That efficiency makes Western systems invaluable to Ukraine while exposing the vulnerabilities of Russia's Soviet-era stockpiles. GMARS exemplifies this evolution, delivering concentrated firepower with minimal logistical strain. But beyond the battlefield, GMARS has geopolitical consequences. Countries watching the war are noting how quickly Western allies can adapt and supply high-tech solutions. Nations in Eastern Europe, Asia, and even the Middle East are reassessing their military procurement strategies. If HIMARS was a showcase, GMARS is the headline act. It demonstrates that Western defense industries can scale innovations into practical, battle-ready systems with incredible speed. Russia's propaganda machine is already scrambling to downplay GMARS. State media insists that Russian forces can handle any new weapon and that the system is nothing but hype. But those narratives collapse once real battlefield data emerges. Every strike that lands on a hive, target speaks louder than propaganda. This is why Moscow is worried, not because of Western words, but because of Western capabilities. The symbolism is just as powerful as the strikes themselves. GMARS represents the unrelenting march of technology, and it shows Russia that its adversaries are not standing still. Every step Russia takes to secure an advantage is met with a countermeasure, often more advanced and more effective than anticipated. That constant adaptation wears down even the most determined forces. Ukrainian commanders now have a new tool to disrupt Russian strategies. With GMARS, they can plan larger, more complex operations, knowing they have the firepower to back them up. They can cut supply lines deeper, force Russia to spread defenses thinner, and regain territory with greater confidence. It is a weapon not just of destruction, but of opportunity, reshaping the tactical possibilities on the ground. Looking forward, GMARS may become a model for future systems. Its dual pod design, interoperability with existing munitions, and adaptability for upgrades make it highly attractive. Nations beyond Ukraine are already considering how it fits into their defense doctrine. For the United States and Germany, this is a successful test case of cooperation. For NATO, it is proof that joint innovation can yield tools that keep adversaries at bay. At the same time, GMARS highlights a sobering reality for Russia. Technological stagnation is a battlefield liability. While the West is producing new, cutting-edge systems, Russia is relying on decade-old stockpiles, often refurbishing old tanks, missiles, and artillery. This imbalance grows sharper every time a system like GMARS emerges. It is not just about losing ground in Ukraine, but about losing credibility as a military power on the global stage. The world is now watching closely. Will GMARS deliver the decisive edge Ukraine needs to push Russian forces back further? Will Russia escalate to new levels to counter it? Or will the very presence of GMARS force Moscow to rethink its long-term strategy? Whatever the outcome, one thing is certain. GMARS has already changed the dynamics of this war, and it will continue to shape the conflict in the months ahead. As we wrap up, It is clear that GMARS is not just another weapon system. It is a statement of intent, a symbol of technological superiority, and a reminder that in modern warfare, innovation always beats stagnation. Russia is learning this lesson the hard way, and Ukraine stands to gain the most from this shift. The story of GMARS is still unfolding, but one thing is undeniable. This system has shaken Russia to its core, just as HIMARS did before it, and perhaps even more. The battlefield will tell the full story, but the shockwaves are already being felt far beyond the front lines.